need be. Currently, your building has 97 instructional spaces. Some of them are subdivided. And this doesn't account for the gymnasium, which is partitioned during the day for multiple gym classes. So it is an increase in your instructional space. There are 24 total offices. That's in the office suites and including spaces for your special ed staff that has office space. And 8 conference rooms on the campus that can be used flexibly. Where we go next, just so that you know the game plan from here, we take the information that we've presented you once it's been approved by both the OSFC and by you, and we begin to do the initial planning of building space based on the POR. That information is going to yield that floor plan that tells where these areas are throughout the building, what the shape of the building will ultimately be. And one of the things that we do is once we've gotten most of the way through schematic design, which gives us a site plan, a floor plan, and also some elevations, what the character of the outside of the building is really going to look like, we have staff and community meetings where we give them an opportunity to really hear everything that you've had a chance to hear, to look at those drawings and diagrams along with you, and to give their responses and comments to them. So it's an opportunity for the community that backed this and has a great investment in your school's future to get a look at the things firsthand. And at this point, if any other questions, comments, and concerns that you might have?
How long will it take to get to that point?
I like the questions when I can do that.
The total schematic design is 3.5-month process, you know, but that doesn't mean that we are not going to be talking to you during that period. We'll be talking to the administration, coming back with the floor plan, getting feedback from the building, Diane and Mark and everybody else, you know. So give us couple of months, you know.
Just curious.
So, yeah.
Well, that's what everybody wants to know. Everybody wants to see something.
We want to do that too, you know. We want to draw it as fast as. But this is an important process we have to go through to get to that point, you know.
Sure.
This is so that everybody is on the same page and we are all on the. We understand what the program is and we don't go in the wrong direction. So we are curious, anxious to get there. Thanks.
Hopefully this little walkthrough helps some perspective in terms of why some things take so long. It's a lengthy process, and we want to make sure from the get-go that the information we're using to develop that building is on target and going to meet your needs.
I appreciate the time that you've put into this, because the community, for those of the people that really want to see some of the detail, which they'll be able to see, and I hope that we run this meeting, you know, for a little longer time period, because there is so much detail in this, and people do want to know why we can't just whip out a drawing. And when you sit down and you look at this by feet and room, and you know, it's tiring just to like read through this, and let alone draw a building around it. So it's nice for the community to be able to see some of these things that we have on there, and just so that they understand maybe the scope of this a little bit better, which is massive, but very exciting. Very nice job. Certainly, I can't really think of anything that you didn't consider, and I'm sure our staff and teachers and administrators mulled over this for hours, and I'm not sure that anybody's forgotten anything. But
they are very much to be complimented for their dedication. They did commit a lot of time and energy to it.
The one thing that framed the conversations, though, that you had with our staff was the criteria supplied by the Ohio School Facilities Commission. and the funds available to be able to frame that project. And the ongoing piece that we talk about is any enhancements to the building that would not be paid for by taxpayer dollars, but rather by philanthropic funds. And so what you're suggesting tonight earlier was that conversation take place simultaneously?
That's correct.
So don't wait 3.5 months, in other words, to have that conversation, that those conversations should take place simultaneously, so that if there are any structural recommendations associated with any of the projects, that they can be built in, and when the initial project is introduced to the community in December or January, that there's been some thinking behind at least the major structural pieces of it. The external piece as well, we heard a lot about the internal workings of the building today, but there's the landscape and the green spaces associated with the building as well. Will that be part of a future conversation, or have...
That will be part of the schematic drawings, when we start working on it. We'll work from the big picture, looking at from the bird's eye view how the relationships are with the rest of the city is, and where the access points are, so what you saw is a bubble diagram. We start with that, and you will, when you see the schematic design, you will see all the green spaces where the parkings are going to be, where entrances are for the service vehicles and all that. That will be part of the schematic design process. You will see that.
But for example, if there was a section if there was a conversation associated with outdoor resources, and there was some conversation about perhaps incorporating an outdoor learning area, and to maximize the use of our property adjacent to the river, et cetera, where does that would have to be part of this external conversation?
That's
at
correct.
This point?
That is correct. Because when we do the site development, we have to take a look at all the parking spaces which are going to be required for faculty as well as the students. Land is very precious over here in this area, so we got to be careful. I mean, we got to know what is going on the west side of the school.
Right. Right.
So,
okay. Thank you.
As early as possible. Thanks.
It's a wonderful opportunity to not face some of the issues that we do when things are an afterthought. When you want to celebrate your heritage and you say, okay, somebody's going to give me a case, a trophy case, where's it going to go? Is it going to take out of the space that's needed for comfortable ingress and egress? Where is this going to go? And it's an opportunity to look at, in the scheme of things, when you consider the co-use, and when you look at in the Washington building, you have a computer lab there, located there in the Washington building, that you look at how you might enhance that to be able to partner to have, we have the Wesleyan Village located closely, and we're always thinking of the seniors teaching and reaching students, but also the students teaching and reaching seniors. They are so computer literate, and there are many who don't use email and are isolated, and if they had an opportunity, the students, I use my children to show me how to do things and how to do it quickly. And this is the time, as we're talking about having these simultaneous conversations about what resources people bring, and also about how we might together be able to collaborate and to leverage our resources to be able to enhance the use of the building and the facilities that we're putting in there now.
Any more?
Very good.
Thank you. Thank you very much.